Yeah. Welcome you all, guys, for orientation session of Playwright. Okay. Playwright is one of the UI and API automation tool, right? So Anirudh sir is our trainer. Sir is going to give the complete details about the syllabus and whatever the questions or doubts you have, yes, sir will clear it. Okay. Sir is having around 13 years of experience, sir, 15 plus years of experience. Okay. So before that, I'll just take you through Trams Lab information. Like some of you guys already know it because you might have done some other course like JMeter or UI automation like Selenium, right? So Trams Lab is one of the well-known institute in Pune, Maharashtra and Karnataka. It's we are running from last 78 years, right? We are completely into full stack software testing related courses, but nowadays we have started .NET development side also. Okay, so many people has gone through the courses and they got a good placement also because we have gained importance in the market because our trainers who are all giving the training on different technologies and different courses, everyone is working in MNCs, right? So what I believe is like, so if someone is working, someone is having practical knowledge, and when he's working on that technologies, he'll be having more confident and more knowledgeable person to give the training to different people, right? And second thing is we are starting from the very basic things, right? Even the non-technical person also can understand it. And completely it will be practical approach because Playwright, we need a practice from you guys also, right? And obviously recorded sessions will be given within 24 hours. Let's say if we complete the today's class, means that video will be given to you. In mobile app you can watch that video, so I mean you can watch it anytime so that you can do the revision or practice whenever you get the time, right? That is the main advantage. And obviously reference will be given if any job openings are there. uh, okay, who are all working, many people are working, many of my candidates are working in different companies, right? Whenever there are openings, we'll give the reference. Okay, and all real-time scenario-based questions will be discussed on every topic, whatever we discuss. That will be there, and that is a must because you need to attend the interview. That's the reason, right? So, playwright history, I think this is a guidelines, guys. Duration is around 30 hours. From last 2 to 3 batches we are seeing, uh, it's around 30 plus hours, or you can say around 30 hours, right, Anand sir?
Yes, it will take around, like I would say, around like 5 weeks, I would say.
Right.
Yep,
Yeah.
uh, at least four
So
weeks.
fine. Yes. Timing is fixed because sir is having some other batches also. Daily 1 plus hours, Monday to Friday. Saturday, Sunday will be holiday because you guys also working. I know it. So timing is 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And preparation of notes is expected from each one of you because it will help you in the interview. And practice is must. Okay, you have to do. It's not like a manual testing where you go and read it and you give the interview, you will get job. It's not like that because it is completely practical things. You have to do the coding, so coding need practice. Okay. Why Playwright? Why not Selenium? Selenium is also there. Okay, and Playwright is also gaining importance in the market nowadays. In my company, okay, I don't tell you the company XYZ. Every project, whatever the new clients are coming, we are uh, you know uh, pitching them into the Playwright projects only. All right. So Playwright is from Microsoft. Okay, sir will give you the complete information. Okay, uh, about that, Anirudh sir, I can say sir is having 16 plus years of experience, right? So He has worked on Selenium, Playwright, Cypress, Java, C Sharp, JavaScript, TypeScript, Git, Jenkins, Azure, JMeter, Postman, etc. And he's having international certifications like Microsoft C Sharp and Azure Cloud, Azure 900. Right. So this is Anirudh sir details, um, and sir will take you through the you know syllabus and history of the uh, Playwright. Over to you, sir, Anirudh sir.
Yeah, thanks, Prabhu. So, Playwright initially, right, when it started, right, it was called as Puppetry. Okay, and it was a standalone, like, a few people started developing it in 2011, the first, open source project that came into picture. Then later, in 2020, what Microsoft did is what they acquired the whole team and they renamed that tool, to Playwright. Okay, so this is a brief history of it. Okay, and you might get confused, like, in some forums they'll say preparatory, but actually now it is called as Playwright, and they have basically, they have their own website wherein they have specified everything about Playwright. Okay. So can we move to the next slide? Okay. If you compare Playwright with Selenium, right, over a period of time, before, going into, the advantages of Playwright, Prabhu, can we move to the, I would say, the graph which wherein the demand for Playwright, is being shown. Can we move to that graph? I think we have that graph, right? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. I think, sorry. Hmm. Okay, let me, start with, what are the advantages of Playwright, right? Basically Playwright is, faster than Selenium. The reason why, it is faster than Selenium is that, whatever that the code that you are writing, right, it gets embedded into the browser and then everything gets executed. Okay, but in Selenium what happens is, you have your code, you have a driver and the browser. So your code instructs, like, using the code, right? Okay, what will happen is, you would get into, like, the driver would, read the code and then instruct the browser. So there is a lag in the execution. Okay, the other features that Playwright provides, right, with TypeScript and Selenium, like TypeScript and JavaScript, is that, you have an inbuilt HTML reporting, okay, wherein you can rerun the test by default. Like, you have that feature. You can repeat, test execution if you want. Okay, there is a feature called trace. Okay, wherein, if you want to do the analysis of the failure, right, it gives a complete detail of what exactly is happening. When I demo it, I'll show you what exactly it is. The other thing is it also provides a tool set wherein you can record and play the code. So, there are many features that are inbuilt in Playwright, which you do not get with Selenium. The browser support, it supports all the browsers that are there in the industry. Okay. But the advantage here is that, whenever you are, using Playwright, you need not to install that browser onto your machine. Playwright comes with its own inbuilt browser. For example, you have Chromium, you have, Firefox and WebKit. So Chromium, you might have heard that, Edge, Microsoft Edge, as well as Google Chrome, right? Okay, you know the rendering engine that you have is Chromium. Okay, so when you run anything on Chromium, that means you are making sure that, your two browsers are covered, that is Edge as well as Chrome. Okay. And also you get, facility for Firefox as well, wherein, as you know, Firefox is a standalone browser, right? WebKit is for the support for Safari. If I'm running anything on Windows, right, I cannot install Safari onto my Windows, like, operating system, right? So what I'll do is I'll use WebKit as the, browser for doing it. So, you have an inbuilt support for the browser as well. Okay, and there are very less prerequisites, you know, that needs to be done, when you're running it with Playwright. Okay. And about test execution, as I talked about, right? You can rerun the test, the test execution is faster. You can repeat the test, So these are the features that you get, on Playwright, whether that is not available in Selenium. Okay. Can we move to the next slide? Yeah. So this graph, right? I think this is an older graph wherein, if you see with the orange line, the orange line that is there, right? You can see people gaining traction, right?
Let
This
me
is
open the
like
new one.
yes.
Uh, Java, Selenium versus Cypress. Uh, Lambda test, no? Where it is?
I think it is NPM.
NPM, right? Yeah. So
Sorry.
this is where NPM trends.
Yes.
Because if you
See,
see
if you
here,
see.
Selenium
Mhm.
output, right? Yeah. Is it
So
visible?
basically, this is an NPM trend. Yeah. Yes, it is visible. So if you see here, when we talk about, Playwright, right, it is sticking, it is gaining action across the globe, right? And everybody has started using, Playwright. The first thing is that it is an open source application, free for all, right? Okay, and then it provides so many features that, it's better to, use Playwright as compared to the other tools. One thing that I forgot to mention is that regarding the execution, Playwright comes with an inbuilt auto wait feature, wherein you need not to write any special code for waiting for some element to be interactable. It does everything on its own. So you have to just specify what exactly the action that you need to perform. Playwright would take care of everything. Okay? Yeah, let's go back to this slide. Right. Let's Okay, so in the course, right, what we will do is, there are like, we'll take things in like, three parts, right? First of all, Playwright, the course that we are looking at is, Playwright with JavaScript and TypeScript, So, before getting into Playwright, we need to, know what exactly is JavaScript, how do we code in JavaScript, what are the syntaxes of it, okay? And then we'll look at TypeScript. TypeScript is just a wrapper around JavaScript. Until unless you know JavaScript, you will not be able to learn TypeScript, okay? It's just a wrapper, okay? And now TypeScript has been developed by Microsoft. So, all the developers are shifting to TypeScript from JavaScript. Okay. So we should be learning this new language called as TypeScript. Okay. Once you are thorough with this, right, we'll get into the main, training for, I would say, Playwright. Okay. Wherein we'll say, we'll look at how do we need to start with Playwright. Okay. What are the basic methods? What are the UI components? That you will be interacting with. Okay. Can we go to the next slide? Okay. See, as I said, right, there are inbuilt tool sets, right? The Playwright Inspector, the tracer and CodeGen. So basically, Playwright Inspector is one which provides you with, you can get the locator using the inspector. Okay. You need not to build the, locator. It'll provide you with the locator. Okay. The other one is trace viewer. Sorry, a trace viewer is like basically, it provides, basically it gives you a complete detail of the execution. Okay. What exactly happened in the execution, it will tell you each and every detail of it. Okay, so it is very helpful when you're doing a failure analysis. Okay, and the code gen is record and play feature, that I talked about, right? You can record the flow, okay, and then play it as it is, and it will work for you. Okay. Then we'll also look at handling alerts and frames in the web pages. Okay, and then Playwright also comes with a feature for API testing as well. But see, this is the difference that you get when you talk about Selenium and Playwright. Playwright is a complete package wherein you can do UI testing as well as API testing as well. Okay, so it comes inbuilt with that feature. Okay. Then we'll talk about the page model patterns. How Playwright can be used in the industry. I'll give you the demo of that. Okay, and also data parameterization. Okay, whenever we write any test, right? Okay, we cannot have hard coded values in the test. We need to drive it from some other source, right? How to do it, right? We'll talk about that. So these two things would help you in understanding how. a Playwright framework is being developed and used in the industry. The ninth point that I want to talk about is, as I said, that we'll talk about, retries, how can we run it in parallel, how can we run it in, serially, right? In single thread, right? And then, tagging of the test, what we can do is, we can categorize tests as per their importance, right? We can have the most important flows, right? As smoke, right? And then we can have regression as, the other set of things. In regression as well, you can see P1, P2, P3, right? Priority one, priority two, priority. So we can tag those tests so that, whenever we want a specific set of tests to get executed, right, we'll just specify the tag and we'll be able to run those. Okay. And we'll also look at, as I said, right, we'll be looking at the framework part as well, how a framework is developed. Right? Okay. And here we'll look at, you know, once the framework is developed, right, well, we'll push this framework into Git. We'll look at, the commands of Git, how to set up Git, how to clone it, what are the branches in Git, what are the more branches, what are, local branches, how to create it. So we'll look at all these factors of Git. Okay. And then we'll create a pipeline, right? Pipeline might be in I would say Azure DevOps, or it might be in Jenkins, right? We can set up any one of those, and then we'll demo it how, a complete process from the start, right? From the development of the framework till the time, it gets embedded into the pipeline and you're executing the test, right? All these things would be shown in this course. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, in detail, right? So as I said, right, we'll be looking at JavaScript and then TypeScript, right? Okay. So what are things that would, JavaScript would contain, right? We'll talk about, what are the data types that are there in the JavaScript. Okay. We'll talk about, functions, how to declare a functions, what exactly is the object in JavaScript, control flows, loops, and object-oriented concepts in JavaScript, right? So once you do all these things, right, you can say that you know JavaScript. Okay. And if a problem is thrown at you, right, you'll be able to solve it using JavaScript syntaxes. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. Yeah. TypeScript, as I said, right, it's a wrapper over JavaScript. JavaScript has some limitations. So what they've done is they've built a wrapper over, JavaScript, and those limitations are solved by TypeScript. Okay. So we'll look at those. And we'll learn TypeScript comparing JavaScript so that you are able to learn TypeScript very easily. So we'll talk about, object-oriented concepts, how functions are declared, what are the data types that you have, how to set up your machine, so that, you can write TypeScript code. Okay. So we'll look at everything so that, once you are done with, JavaScript and TypeScript, any problem that is thrown at you, right? And people wants you to solve it, right? You'll be able to do it using both the languages. Okay. Then can we move to the next slide? Yeah. So this is the complete detail of, what, Playwright course would, you know, contain. We'll look at the setup. Okay. What are the important annotations? Like, I talked about taggings, right? Okay. So, taggings as well as annotations in Playwright, like, how a framework is developed, right? Whenever you, develop a framework, right, you have test, but test has some prerequisites that needs to be carried out before, running the test, right? So how to go about it, right? That those are, driven through the annotations. Okay. We'll also understand what is async and await. Okay, this is a very, very important concept because JavaScript is, we'll talk about in detail, but, on a very high level, right? You have two set of programming language. There is asynchronous programming language and a synchronous programming language. Okay, so synchronous is basically, what we do is whenever we trigger any function or any action, right? We'll wait for that action to complete and provide us with the results. Whether it is positive or negative, that is a different, you know, thing. But the thing is, once we get the output of it, right? Then only we trigger the next action. That is called as synchronous execution. But in the asynchronous, what happens is, you have two actions. Okay. So what will happen is I'll trigger the first action, but I'll not wait for the first action to get complete. I'll trigger the second action as well. Okay. So here the concept of async await comes into picture. Okay. We want our test, right, to execute, after, like, the instruction should get executed one after the other, only after the first instruction is providing me with the valid result, right? Okay. So we'll talk about that, right? In detail, we'll talk about, what exactly is browser, what exactly is browser context and page fixture, right? How these are used in the test, right? We'll also, talk about, the configuration file. There is a configuration file which drives all the, like, and I would say behavior of the playwright. Okay. So, we'll learn about that, configuration file. We'll learn about all the features into it. Okay. Yeah, running test in multiple browsers, as I said, we have support for multiple browsers, right? So we'll look at, how can we run it in multiple browsers. Okay. Can we move to the next slide, Prabhu?
Anil, can you take a control? I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see how to get the control.
Just click on it. Yes.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be back in
So
two
now,
minutes.
yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah. Oh, well, let me go back. Okay. So we'll also learn, how to get the locators. What are the methods wherein, I can get it. Basically, if you have come from a Selenium background, right, there you have web elements, right? Okay. So how do you do it, right? It's driver dot find element, and then you provide the selector. It might be a CSS selector or an XPath. Yeah. And you get an element that is web element object. And using that web element object, you will be interacting. Similarly, here what happens is you have a locator object. Okay. So there are many methods for getting the locator object. Okay. So we'll look at each and every method. Okay. And then, how to get the content of the page, right? Working with multiple elements, what are weights in Playwright, right? We'll look at those. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. And here, these are UI components, right? How to, select the drop down options, right? What is pause method in Playwright, right? And how to interact with radio button, child window, tabs, right? We look at all these things, whatever, elements that are there on the UI, right? You know, we'll be interacting with those, handling, the alerts. Okay, we'll also handle, frames, right? And we'll also talk about API testing, how to carry out API testing using Playwright. Features that I spoke about earlier, right? We have Playwright Inspector, which will help me in providing, the locator on the fly. Trace viewer, it will help me in analyzing the failure. I'll show you how to do it, right? I'll give you a small demo after this, right? Okay. Then you have code. You can record and play. Playwright also has, inbuilt support for HTML report, right? So we'll talk about that. Okay? And then logs and screenshots, right? How do we get logs? How to read it? Okay, and then after every test, how to get a screenshot, right? It's very simple in Playwright, But if you talk about Selenium, there you have to write a special code, right? But here there are a couple of, properties that you need to just set, and everything is, you're set to go for those things. Okay. So let me move to the next slide. We have come to the previous one. Yeah, as I said, retrying the field test, running it in parallel, tagging the test, right? We would be doing that, right? Okay. As earlier I had specified, right? Page model pattern as well as data parameterization, how you would be doing it. This would help you in understanding how framework is developed, okay, in the industry. And once you go for an interview, you will be very thorough with, how things, the process are, right? And it will be easier for you to answer the queries, okay? If somebody who has not worked on it, but if they ask, can you explain about the framework? You can tell them that how I was parameterizing the data, what was the structure of my page models, right? You can at least give them an idea that you know it, right? Yeah. We'll look at, Git, we'll have a brief, session for a Git so that, you start working on Git, right? You know what exactly is Git, what are the important commands, right? And we'll, also see the CI/CD tool sets, right? Jenkins as well as, Azure DevOps, and we'll set up the pipeline. Okay. Okay. So this is all about the course that we will be taking up. Okay. Coming back, right? Give me a minute. Let me see. Okay. Prabhu, are you there? Fine. Not an issue. Okay. Let me take the control and I'll just, show you, a brief about Playwright. As I said, right, we have a inbuilt HTML report, right? What are the trace viewer, how to get a screenshot, right? Just, small demo would help you. Okay? Let me share my screen. Let me see. Okay, okay, no, I think Prabhu has given me the control, but just give me a moment. Yeah, Prabhu is coming in. Just give me a moment, right? And then, I'll give you a demo of Selenium, as well as Playwright. Right? I'll write a piece of code in Selenium, okay, and also I'll write a piece of code in Playwright, okay, and I'll show you how efficient is Playwright as compared to Selenium. Let me do that. Please bear with me. Prabhu is coming in. Right? He'll provide me with the access, and then yeah. Till the time, right? Do you have any questions? I can see Kedar, Kasturi, right? And we have Swati
Anirudh,
here.
Anirudh, you can share your screen.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Let me know once you're able to see my screen. Is my screen visible?
No.
Is it available now?
Yes, yes. Now it's
Yes,
visible.
yes.
Okay, let me pull this on the other side. Okay. So now coming back, right? Okay, let me open a web browser, right? Okay, let me get it here. And what I'm doing is I'll go to the website called Playwright. Okay. This is the Playwright official website. Okay. This is the why. And what I'll do is I'll click on getting started button. Once I click on getting started button, what I'll do is I'll just check whether the header is present or not, right? And the value that you're getting in the header, right? Okay, is installation or not. This is what I'll be doing. Very simple, right? Okay, let's do that. Okay, so I have already written a code. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me comment all these lines. This is related to Selenium, right? Okay, I'll do it in Selenium first, and then we'll talk about the. So what I'm doing is, I've created an
This is
object.
C sharp Selenium you are automating, right?
Yes, this is Selenium with C sharp. Okay. There is not much of a difference between Java and Selenium, like Java and C sharp. Okay, it's just I would say a mirror image of it. Right? Now they have the same set of concepts and same set of syntaxes. Okay. So now, what I'm doing is I've created a WebDriver object here. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm navigating to the specific, URL. Okay. Once I navigate to specific URL, this is the locator. I'll just show you the locator. Okay. So that you have an idea. Okay. Let me go back to the inspect element. Okay. And then see, this is what the locator is. If I say, and also one thing that we have not mentioned in the presentation is that will also help you in learning of what exactly is XPath and CSS locator. Will tell you how to construct an XPath, how to construct a CSS locator. We'll also look at that as a concept as well, okay? Because somebody who is very new to automation, he'll not be knowing how to get the locators, basically, right? The address of that element on the web page, right? So we'll also talk about, or we'll also make sure that he learns that part. Okay, let me now copy this. See, if you see, this is the one, the same thing. Okay. Then what I'm doing is, and I have created a web element of it, and I'm clicking on it. So, as I said, right, I'll click on this element. Once I click on this element, this is the header. So let me go and check the locator of it. So it is the header here, and the tag that you get, HTML tag, is H1. Okay. So if you come here, see, I've already already have a, you know, a locator created. Let me see, I'm getting the right locator here, right? With this, yeah. So now what I'll do is I'll just check whether, the the text that is there on the header, right? Okay, is installation. Now this is what I'm doing it through Selenium. Okay. So let me run this test. See, I'm running this test. Okay. So, yeah, I'm getting this browser. Okay. And if you see, the resource, right, on which I was executing the test, right, was not killed, right? Okay, still there. This is, one thing that, that you face with Selenium. Okay, and the test has failed. Okay, because what it said is that, no such element exception, no such element unable to locate the element with this locator. Right? But if you see here, I'll go back here. Let me go back. Okay, and then I'll say I'll press F12 and I'll just try to find the element, right? Okay, let me note all these lines. Oh, there's a lot of things here. Let me delete it and let me copy this part. Let me come here. Okay, and let me paste it. See, the element is present, but why did my script did not, like I would say, it said that the element was not available, right? Because it did not wait for that element to come up. Before that only, it was trying to validate that the installation, the text is installation. Okay. For doing that, what I'll do is, I'll just set up, in Selenium you have weights, right? So I have to write special code for weights. First is an implicit weight, another is an explicit weight. And then what I'll do is I'll just write another code stating that wait until this header element is displayed or not. Till the time it is not displayed, don't go ahead and validate. Okay. Now if I run this test, right, let me run it. See, my test passed, right? So for validating such a small scenario as well, I had to write special code for waiting for the element, right? This is something that is there in Selenium. Okay, and the other thing, right, if I want to see what exactly happened in the test, there is no way that I can do it, right? Because for that I have to write special lines of code for getting the HTML report, as well as for getting the logs, right? Okay, so coming back to my, I would say, Playwright. Okay. So I'll be using the same locators, right? So what I'll do is I'll copy the same thing here. Okay. Let me copy this. Okay. And let me open my Playwright. Okay. So now I'll create a folder here. First of all, I'll go to my source folder in my user, and I'll create a folder with the name Playwright demo, and I'll say March underscore 22. Right. I'll open this folder. I'll set up Playwright now. Okay. First of all. We'll talk about everything in detail, when we talk about, Playwright. Okay, don't worry about that. I want to just show you how efficient is Playwright, okay, and how easily we'll be able to, code the same thing using Playwright, okay. Everything is ready, okay. First of all, what I'll do is I'll get rid of this. As I said, right, we have trace as well, okay. Let me get the trace here. First of all, I'll say trace is on. Then I'll say what is the browser now, and I'll say Chromium, okay, because there I was using Chrome, right? Okay, and I'll say what is the state, right? It is headless. I'll say headless is false, and last is screenshot. I'll say let it be on, so that if it is pass or fail, I should be able to. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll create one test. Okay, let me create one test. We'll say demo.spec.ts. So input test. Just bear with me. You'll get everything. When we learn playwright, right, we'll come to know everything. Don't worry about it. I just want to show how you write things in playwright. Okay, let me see. I'll say this is demo test. I'll say page dot go to, and I'll navigate to the specific URL. Okay, let's go back. Let me copy this part. Now what I'll do is I'll just say page dot locator. Okay, and then I'll just get this locator for getting started. Okay, and I want to click on it, right? And just stay click. Once I click on it, I need to you know validate the header of this, the first header that we are getting. So I'll say await spec. I'll say page dot locator. I'm getting the locator of that header. Okay. Say now to have this, method to compare the text. What I'll do is I'll copy this and I'll say okay. See, so I've written three line of code for doing it, right? Here, what I was doing a lot of activities, right? Okay. So now coming back, right? I'll run this test. Let's run it. See, I'm getting this test. Okay. So my test passed, right? Only writing three line of code, I was able to do the same thing that I was like, in Selenium. I had to write so many lines of code, right? Okay. So, one thing that you see here is that, you get auto weights in Playwright. So you need to write special code for doing that. Automatically Playwright will do it. The other thing is I talked about, the inbuilt, HTML report. If I go and open the HTML report, right? No, let me open the HTML report. See, I'm getting the HTML report for that test and it tells me, what exactly I did, right? I navigated to this URL. Okay, then I click on this, button and then I was checking, what exactly is the, text for this element, right? Okay. So, and I'll get the screenshot as well. Okay, so that is an inbuilt feature, right? Okay. Let me go back, right? Okay. And I did talk about trace, right? Okay. Let's go to trace. Let's go to trace and we'll see. So we have this zip file. Okay. And just copy the location of it. I'll say npx playwright show this and parent it, right? See, so trace would provide me with each and every details, and if you see, you get the locator logs what exactly I'm doing. Okay, in the first I was just clicking on this parameter was this, right? Okay, and also it will tell me the source code where exactly that code resides, right? Okay, if I come here, right, it will tell me, see, it is highlighting which code I was trying to execute, right? And also it gives me a timestamp as well as with the screenshot what where exactly I was, right, when that specific action happened, right? Okay, so this is how in detail you get the information about execution as well. So this is really helpful when we talk about when we want to do the failure analysis. Okay, so this is a small demo that I was talking about. If any questions do you have? Any questions? any doubts or any query that you have, please come up, right?
Hi, Aniruddha. Am I
Hi.
audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So Priyanka Kedar here. So, like a Java, like a core Java. So
Uh-huh.
we have many concepts in Java language. So,
Yes, yes, yes.
can we cover the same all the concepts in a JavaScript, like a JavaScript core or core JavaScript? Can we cover
See,
all
yes,
the yeah?
yes. So what we would be doing is, we'll take all the important concepts of JavaScript. See, JavaScript is not an object-oriented language. Okay, it's a scripting
Hmm,
language. Okay,
hmm,
so it has its own features. Okay, so we'll talk about each and every feature that is required for you to start coding on it. Right.
hmm,
Once, see, there is, what we can do is whenever we talk about say I've gone through the trainings as well. Okay,
hmm,
for Java, core Java, right? They gave me a platform, right? They told
hmm,
me what are the features of Java. Then what happened is, as I progressed, right, as I started learning more, I started, practicing, right? I
hmm,
enhanced my skill sets. So I'll get you to that platform that you start coding right away.
hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
so that you're not new to the language, right? You know
Hmm,
everything about the language. Now, if you want to excel on it, right? If you want to, you know, um, do more on it, right? You'll practice more and you'll learn more, right? You'll build on it, right? Okay.
hmm.
So we'll get you to that platform. Okay.
Okay, so like before understand the Selenium, we need to understand all the concepts of Java. So like that, in a Java Selenium also we are using what the error handling.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
can we use here error handling in a playwright?
Yes, JavaScript has error handling. So there you can try and can see it. JavaScript some of the syntaxes are same as Java. If you know
Hmm,
Java, right, you can
hmm.
just correlate it and understand, right, how to do it in JavaScript. That's it.
Okay, so my main intention is only that we need to understand all the concepts of a JavaScript, and then we can go for the playwright. So like
Yes,
JSON also the concept of in JavaScript, right?
yes, yes,
So
yes.
can we cover a JSON also here?
Yes, we'll
Oh,
look at everything, when we talk about, see, it's a complete package, right? Once you
hmm,
finish, our course, right, you'll be thorough with,
hmm.
all the concepts of JavaScript.
Okay, because you have shown the JavaScript syllabus, right? So it's a
Yes.
very basic. So that's why uh, just I want to ask these questions related
Yeah.
to the syllabus only.
Yeah. See, basically, I've been training, JavaScript, since long, right?
Hmm,
Whatever topics that we have taken, right? Okay. They are enough for you to understand how to work on JavaScript. Okay.
hmm,
Yep. And the other thing is when we talk about parameterization of data, right, in Playwright. Okay.
hmm,
So there the concept of reading JavaScript JSON file and how to use it, right? We'll talk about
hmm,
that. So this way, what we'll do is we'll build up things, right? You have some
hmm.
concept of JavaScript, and then you talk about framework. Then we'll learn few more things of it, right? Yeah.
Okay. So you mean we can learn like a string arrays or the error
Yes.
handling concepts or the
Yes.
control
Yes.
structures, all these.
Yes. So
Okay.
let me,
Hmm,
we might have not,
hmm.
let me show you my syllabus. Okay.
Okay.
Is my screen visible?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
See, if you talk about JavaScript, right, we'll talk about variable declaration, data types, assignment operators, array. We'll talk about objects, functions, string, numbers and math functions. Date, time, loops, control loops, scope, error handling. Oops concept, right? What are modules, right? And async await. These are the topics that we will take on. Once we are thorough with
Hmm,
all these, right?
hmm,
Okay,
hmm.
and I
Okay.
think the complete JavaScript is taken care of, right?
Hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Yes. So for API testing also, we need to learn what JSON part, right?
See, basically, there is a like you know, Playwright would provide you with a facility for API testing. What exactly
Hmm,
is API testing, right?
hmm,
API testing should have, an endpoint. Okay, it should
hmm,
have a body. It should have an header, right?
hmm.
Yes or no? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Right.
We'll talk about how to use the API testing of Playwright for doing that. Okay? And I'll show you a demo of doing it. Okay, this will
Okay.
give you an idea, right? Okay.
Okay.
And see, what we can do is we can tell you that this is how we need to use it. But there are a lot of documentations that you can
Hmm.
also go through, right?
Hmm.
Once you know how this tool is used, right?
Hmm.
Then enhance your skill set, right? Okay.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other query, other questions?
Rohit, Samsung, Tejashree.
Okay. Hello, sir. Rohit here.
I do it, yeah.
Sir, when we are going to write a test case, are we writing
Mm-hmm.
it on JavaScript or TypeScript?
We'll take TypeScript as a base, okay, and
Okay.
then we'll write everything into TypeScript itself, okay, because see, there is not much of a difference, when we talk about Playwright on JavaScript and TypeScript, okay, only the toolsets that TypeScript provides us, right, they are more compared to JavaScript, so we tend to move towards TypeScript, okay. For example, uh, JavaScript does not have interface, okay,
Okay.
interface concept, right, okay, but TypeScript has interface concept. Okay. So there are many things that TypeScript provides which does not JavaScript does not provide. So better is that we use those which are provided by a better language, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. And when you talk about a framework on JavaScript, TypeScript, everything remains the same. Only the the libraries that you would be creating, right? For example, page models or the utility functions, right? There things would be different. But as a structure, the only difference would be that in JavaScript, all the files, would be with an extension called JS. Here you will have, files with an extension called TS. That's it.
Okay. So many of the functions that we are using JavaScript that are we can use it in TypeScript also.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you can use it.
Okay. Okay. And there is a need to focus on specific TypeScript. I mean, language basics, like we go through JavaScript basics. So, is there any much syntax difference between TypeScript and JavaScript?
See, basically, Java, TypeScript is just a wrapper over a JavaScript. Okay.
Okay,
When things get executed, right? Okay. Whatever code that you have written in TypeScript, okay, gets converted into JavaScript, and that code gets executed. Okay.
okay,
Okay.
got
So,
it.
it is just a wrapper or around JavaScript. If you know JavaScript, you can learn TypeScript. This is what, theory is.
Sure, sir. I got it. Thank you.
Any other
Tejashree,
questions?
any doubts? Swati? Okay. Sir, just shown one example of how easy it is compared to Selenium. But still,
It's
again,
not.
hello. Okay, fine. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
how easy it is Playwright is compared to Selenium, and what just with one difference, sir has shown with a detailed description how it gives for debugging and everything, and screenshot also it gives. Obviously, the customers are more. I mean, what is that? What you can say? Interested to see the graphs or screenshots, right? With this, I mean, except, I mean, what is that? Instead of datas, right? So if you show the, screenshot of detailed test cases related things, then he'll be more impressive. And you need not to, everything is inbuilt within the JavaScript. I mean, Playwright, right? Anil sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
It's not
Everything is moving.
it's
Yes.
not like Selenium, like where we are third party tools we are integrating with the Selenium and all, right? So if you
No.
see, yeah, if you see here, just I took a 5 years data. Green color is a Selenium. See, at the, I mean, 2020, it was at the top. See here, 2020 it is on top, but Cyprus was completely down here till 2023. From 2023 or 22 in mid, it started gaining the popularity, but suddenly it raised in 2024 December, something like here. See, orange color has started gaining importance in the market, Playwright. And Cyprus is still there. Uh, it depends on the company, right? This is how, I mean, I think recently you guys have seen one guy has got a 22 lakh package with the Playwright itself in Xorient in Pune itself. And best part is second thing, that is Anirudh sir, because he's having vast knowledge and he's having very patiently he's answering to the students' questions, because this is what I have received a feedback from the previous batch. Okay, and sir is going to support. That is a paid support, a different thing. Like he support for Java Selenium, C Sharp Selenium, and uh, Playwright for the project which is going on in your company. Means let's say some people get stuck in the preparing the framework and all. There, Anirudh sir will help. Industry level also, sir is going to help you in case if you get stuck. Okay. As part of this playwright training, I hope everyone will get satisfied with the training once you complete the training. It's 30 hours of training. Okay. I think we're not discussed about Git and Jenkins, everything we are going to cover, right? Yeah. The total
Yes.
fees is 10,000. One-time payment is 9,000. First three demonstrations are free, and the registration you can do by paying 6,000. Remaining 4,000 you can pay it later. Otherwise, one-time payment you can do it. But what is that? Where it is guidelines. Yes, it's only 1 hour on Monday to Friday. 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. because it helps everyone, including trainer also. 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. is suitable to everyone. Okay, that's the reason. And
Sir, I
yeah,
have one doubt.
yeah,
Uh, can, can we have a session at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.?
no, because sir has to go to office.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And do we got a recording in Ramanujan
Yes,
app?
yes, yes,
So we need Android mobile for that,
yeah.
or
No,
Apple?
Apple is fine. No
Apple
problem.
is fine.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah. Yes, I don't have
Uh,
knowledge on API. There is a concept in API. Tejasri.
सर
Yes.
या सो एंड्रॉइड और एप्पल दोनों पे भी हम एक्सेस कर सकते हैं ना
Yes,
वीडियो?
yes, कर सकते.
ओके ओके
But
फिर
it's a mobile version only. Videos you can
हम्म
watch in mobile version.
हम्म
And best part is another thing is sir is uh, having knowledge on knowledge, not knowledge. He can speak Marathi, Hindi, English, Kannada. You can speak in any English. You can speak. You can clear with your doubts from any language. Right, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that is a good part again. And Tejasri is asking, I don't have any knowledge on API. There is a concept in API. So how do you deal with this? Come
See,
see, yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, API
Go
testing
ahead.
not a part of this, because at least we are expecting you to at least have an basic knowledge on the API. Again, we have to complete training part will be diverted. Okay, हम लोग क्या हो जाएगा फिर, like we are moving from the playwright and started taking the postman, right? ऐसा हो जाएगा. So I can help you with one of the video tutorials which are there in the YouTube. Within 2 to 3 days also you can learn API testing. That's not a big matter. Yes, Anirudh sir, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Basically, API, you need to have an endpoint, okay, and then you have headers as well as body, okay. There are two concepts, that is a request and a response object. You prepare a request object, and then there are methods, right? Get, post, like there are different set of methods, and you get a response. So basically, you need to fetch the data from the response and then perform whatever action that you want, right? So it's quite simple. So as I said, right, as Ketan said, right, we can share some videos so that your concepts are clear. And the same thing, we'll demo it using Playwright. Okay, Playwright has that feature of interacting with the endpoints, and how do we interact with that endpoint, right? We will talk about that in detail then.
Okay,
Yep.
fine. Yes. Can we work directly on the project during this course? No, first we'll, I think we go for basic knowledge on JavaScript, then Playwright, then project, I guess. Anu sir, how do you take
Yes,
the session?
that will be better. That will be better because you need to be thorough with TypeScript and JavaScript. Once you're thorough with TypeScript and JavaScript, then only you'll be able to build wrapper around basically writing your own libraries for the framework, right? Okay, so let's take those baby steps first. First get the hands-on the language, and then move to Playwright.
Okay, clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yes, guys. Any other doubts? Related to course, when we're going to start, we'll ask to Anil sir and we'll let you know in the group. The first three sessions are demo sessions you can attend, okay, without any registration. Once the demo session gets over, then you can do the registration if you feel okay. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, timeline is not set right now.
Timeline, time is same, time is fixed, 7 to 8. But date
Date.
when we're
Yeah,
going to
yeah, date.
start. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Uh,
not in the next week.
Yeah, it will be, I guess. But I will ask the Anirudh sir schedule because the current batch recently, I think 2 to 3 days back only, current batch got over. So
Yes.
Anirudh sir might have some schedule. I'll check with sir and I will put in the group. Okay,
Okay, sir.
fine. All right then. Any doubt last time I'm asking you? Okay, I'll take your silence as no questions. We'll wind up the sessions, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you,
Thank
sir.
you.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so
Yeah.
much. Bye bye.
Have